Big changes at the studio this week. I've been flat out rearranging stuff, moving cutting lathes, and the place is a mess. It's a bit chaotic, and I haven't really had time to do a proper video for YouTube this week, so I thought I'd just show you a bit of what I've been doing, why I've been doing it, why I'm moving some cutting lathes around, and my thoughts behind it, and just show you a bit as well, because it's been a good year or so since I've actually done a studio tour. So I thought I'd do a little tour. You can see just behind the scenes, and I'll explain a bit about vinyl cutting and why I've decided to move some very heavy cutting lathes around. So let's go. We're going handheld now. So if you've seen the other studio tour videos, you'll be a bit familiar, but I'm going to show you my two rooms, mastering room and cutting room, and I'll explain what the bits are and why I'm moving everything around. So this is the main mastering room. Let me zoom out a little bit. Now this stuff has mostly stayed the same. I've changed this unit so I can fit some rack gear down there that used to be over here. That's all a complete mess for now, just because I'm moving stuff. And this is the big change back here. So this is one of my cutting lathes, which I've completely stripped. Some of it's down there, loads of it's in bits in that cupboard. So I've taken out all the guts of it. Inside there used to be motors, which I've taken out. I've got a brand new motor on its way. But that is basically just an empty shell of a cutting lathe. That's the top part, and there's more in here. So in here, I did have all the lathes in here. This one's staying, and this is all just bits of stuff. This in here, I'll get out the light, is lots of bits of the cutting lathe from the other room. Lots of power, record players, lots of cables, speakers, and a big old unit that used to be in the other room. This is still going to stay here and be cutting in here. It's got some bits from the other lathe on there as well. So I've still got a good bit of tidying up to do. So this huge unit used to be along that back wall, and that lathe used to be in here. So why the move and moving everything around? That's kind of the more interesting thing. So if you've watched my previous videos, or you've seen the mastering FAQs playlist that I've done, you'll know that there's two types of records that can be cut on a record cutting lathe. One is plastic records that are close to a finished pressed record that you can cut on one of these machines and then play straight away. They're called lathe cut records. And another type is lacquers, which I think I've got over here somewhere. Yeah. So this is a lacquer, and this is actually a metal disc. If you can see in here, it's a metal disc coated with nitrocellulose lacquer. And this is cut, and then this is sent off to a pressing plant and made. It goes through a lot of chemical processes, and it's kind of made into a metal version of this, with the grooves inversed, the opposite of the grooves. So it squashes or presses the grooves into the finished record in a big hydraulic press. Now, when you cut these ones, you need a slightly different setup on your lathe. And these are only cut to be sent off to the pressing plant to be turned into the stampers. So they will play on a record player, but when you play them, they wear out. Excuse me. So they're only cut to be made, to be mass produced, basically. And up until now, I've only been cutting the plastic short run lathe cut records on all three of my machines, but this one is going to be set up so that I can cut these master lacquers for the pressing plants, And then my double lathe in the other room will be set up still, or it would just stay the same for doing the short run records for bands and artists who want a one-off record or who want a run of 10 or 20. And the reason I've moved this one into here and I've completely stripped it back, and it's going to get new motors, a new pitch system, a new vacuum system, all these kind of upgrades, is that it's going to be connected to my mastering outboard here, the Unfair Child, the Curve Bender, all my just awesome analog gear, so that we can cut through all of that straight to a lacquer disc, which will then be used for mass production to send to the pressing plants. So I wanted to move that machine in here, excuse me, so that I've got a kind of all-in-one setup in this room. I can do the mastering, cut the master lacquers all in this room, and then the next room is just purely set up for doing short run lathe cut records for, as I say, bands who just want small numbers of records. So that's the idea behind the shift. I've had to do loads of clearing out and reorganizing just so that I can move stuff. I've got a good amount of space here, but with all the lathe stuff takes up a lot of room, so I've had to clear a load of stuff out. I've also taken this outside and spray painted it. You probably won't be able to see any difference, but this is a lathe from the 1950s, and it was looking a bit tired and had lots of grease and oil stains on it. So it's looking a bit sharper now, and that's ready for a new motor to go in it, the top to go back on it, and then I'll start building up with the platter and the cutting head and all that kind of apparatus as well. So that's it really. It's been a lot of work and a bit chaotic this week, but I'm nearly there. The lathe build is going to take still a few more weeks to, I need to wait for the motor, put that in, and then rebuild every part that I've stripped down. So a little time consuming, but it's going to be worth it. And that's the idea. So I'm going to have two kind of separate cutting setups now. And it's going to be really good fun. I'll be able to make videos in here, do the mastering and the lacquer cutting, and then do the separate lathe cuts too. So there we go. I've been just flat out shifting stuff all weekend. Moving this is very difficult. They're very heavy. And getting it out through the doors in this place has been pretty difficult too. I've had to take all the doors off the hinges and all sorts like that. So there you go. So that's it. Little studio update for today. Still got loads more videos planned, loads more coming of some mastering walkthroughs, cutting walkthroughs, all that kind of stuff as well. And as always, just hope you're well. Reach out with any questions, and I'll see you next time.